Good evening, Unalaska. Welcome to Where We Are. I'm Tim Perry.
I'm Mary Ann Neese, substituting for vacationing Marilyn Rasmussen.
And we have all kinds of information for you tonight. Among other things, we have a report on the fire at Devilfish Point, the Pan-Alaska lawsuit.
We take a look at the Kulluk oil rig and a review of the Unalaska cleanup.
And Bobby York and Denny Brown are back in town from Fairbanks, where they were attending the Summer Special Olympics. So starting it all off, a report on the Devilfish Point tundra fire. Last Sunday at 6:30, the Department of Public Safety received a report of a fire burning out of control at Devilfish Point because the blaze was located in an uninhabited area across from South America. The state fire team was called in, the Bureau of Land Management parachute firefighters from Fairbanks. While they were in transit to Dutch Harbor, the ERA helicopter pilot, Rich Harkness, flew overhead the fire and dumped loads of water on it Monday morning in an effort to slow it down. The state firefighters arrived in Unalaska Monday about 5:30 and were transported via skiff, Fish and Game and Fish and Wildlife skiff, over to the side of the fire, and they had the fire out by later that evening, about 9:30. Due to its location, there is only speculation as to the cause of the fire. According to Police Chief Bill Steele, a possibility might be that a piece of glass or other such thing might have caused heating of the tundra from the sun's rays, and the tundra might have spontaneously combusted. From the Associated Press of Seattle comes the news of a lawsuit being brought against Pan-Alaska Fisheries. 3 black men from Bellevue, Robert Hogues, his brother Edward, and Wesley Newton, have charged the company with racial discrimination. Hogues claimed that in 1980 they were among 14 blacks hired from Seattle, and upon arriving here at the local plant were housed in inferior quarters, denied hot water, forced to sleep in the cold, harassed on the job, and denied promotions. After hearing testimony from the men, the Federal Equal Opportunity Commission felt there was reasonable cause to believe that the grievances were justified, and they issued the right to sue letters to each of the men. At their base of operations in Seattle, Pan-Alaska officials declined to comment.
The Unalaska cleanup week was extended another weekend due to the stormy weather of Saturday the 28th. There was, however, a joyful celebration that evening at the Unisea Trash Bash, where over 300 people attended a celebration, and proceeds went toward the purchase of garbage receptacles around the city. The following Saturday, June 4th, was warm and sunny, bringing cleanup cooperation from the many volunteers. Members of the Lions Club, the Longshoremen's Union, Parks, Culture and Recreation, the Public Safety Department, and Public Works, as well as many private citizens, began the cleanup campaign at 10 a.m. Generous donations of equipment and employees were given by Markenko, Magone Marine, and East Point. The project continued in full force till 6 p.m. and wound down at 8 that evening. Scores of garbage and refuse were first cleared out of the downtown Unalaska area. Dumpsters and truck drivers reported more than 15 trips each to the dump. More than one large dumpster left by the Willowa Services was also removed, and the Public Works Department alone removed 2 to 250 yards of material refuse. The Public Safety Department played a mighty hand in tracking down and reporting over 30 junk vehicles. While the Public Works tackled cars on the Unalaska side, Frank Arriaga was greatly responsible for their removal on Amacnac Island. 3 p.m., after a short lunch, the cleanup team moved on to Strawberry Hill. And although much work still remains, the results were significant.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we have it, Strawberry Hill before and soon after.
The people who participated in the project are to be thanked and congratulated. But they will tell you that the pleasure was theirs, and although it was hard work, the results were very gratifying. Channel 8 was invited to tour the oil-rigged Kulluk, and we'd like to show you that.
Here we are in Unalaska Bay, just behind Hog Island, with an oil rig called the Kulluk. And I want to introduce to you Al Ward, who is the Superintendent of Logistics here on my right, and Bill Samuel, the Superintendent of Drilling. They're kind enough to take us on a tour to let you all know about this oil rig here. And let me ask you, first of all, what does Kulluk mean, Al, and where did it get its name?
Yes, Marianne, the Kulluk is derived from the Eskimo word thunder. How we came about getting this name, we had the school children from the village of Tutiakoff submit names that they thought would be appropriate for our drill ship. And through a process of elimination, we took the word Kulluk.
Great. Could I ask you, where does this rig come from? Where was it built, and where is it going, and why is it here in Unalaska Bay?
A lot of questions.
Yeah.
Okay, the rig itself was built in Tamano shipyards in Japan. It has just been recently towed here. In fact, we got in Unalaska Bay, I think, 2 weeks ago today. Why we have stopped here, it is a protected harbor, probably midway between Japan and our final destination, which is the Beaufort Sea. While we're in the harbor here, we will be resupplying and moving on a bunch of equipment that's required for our drilling operation in the Arctic. We're also going to be training a lot of our personnel who aren't acquainted with this type of drilling rig. And also we will be waiting for the ice window around the top of Alaska. By the ice window, apparently the ice moves away from the land for a short period of time, and I think around the 5th of July we'll be leaving the harbor, going up to Point Barrow, where we will wait for the ice window to open, and then at that time we will scoot into the Beaufort Sea.
Wonderful. I understand that the bow drill is a very unique oil rig and nothing like you've ever seen before, and this is the first of its kind and the first time it will be in the Arctic. Can you explain to us a little bit more about its uniqueness?
I'm not really acquainted with the design, other than it is a prototype of its kind. It's designed for year-round, hopefully year-round drilling in the Arctic. The conical shell is designed to deflect the moving ice that is present in the Arctic, and after a year we'll be able to tell how successful our engineers were in their design.
Oh, wonderful. How many feet of ice, for example, can this deflect, excuse me?
Oh, I don't know whether I'd like to comment on that. I'm sure it's going to have to look at somewhere between 6 and 7 feet of ice. I don't know how much more than that.
Okay. Oh, great. Bow Drill is a manufacturer of this rig. What is its relationship to an oil company, and which oil company?
Okay. Bow Drill is 100% owned by Gulf Canada Resources, who are a subsidiary of Gulf Canada. And Gulf Canada formed Bow Drill so that they could become a drilling contractor and have an arm's length agreement or affiliation with their customers.
Great. How about if we look over here the side? Can you tell me how many people work here at this oil rig?
I think on board right now there are 91 people, and I'm not sure what the eventual total amount will be. But I think there's 91 people, and probably 4 of them are women.
Okay, Bill, can I ask you a few questions here? I want to know, would you tell me, we've got these huge, or actually huge anchors on the side. I want to ask you, I heard that there are 12 of these. Can we take a look at that? And I want to ask you what and when and how you use those.
These are, well, we stored them on the deck from Japan just for carrying. Now we use them for anchoring up. This is what holds us in position here. We use our icebreaker supply boats to put them into position and hold us on this location. And then when we get ready to move out, we'll recover all of these with the supply boats, and then they'll tow us on out of here.
And what about these little orange boats here on the side? What are they for?
Those are what we call survival capsules. They're a 54-man unit, and we have 4 of them on board. Now these are for basically for any unforeseen disasters, which we hope we never run into, but they're quite a unique unit. They, everyone, if you have to abandon the rig in case of storms or fire, whatever, everyone has a seat belt. There's stores on there, canned dry goods.
For how long?
I believe we have enough on there for a week.
Okay, now we have Mike Rourke, the chief mechanic. Mike, where are we now?
We're in the main switchgear room. This is where all the governor controls are for the main generators, all the switchgear for the rig, the main SCR control units, and so on. If you just come around this way, you'll see the main switchboard right here. Okay, here's where you control your main generators. All this cubicle in front of you is controlling the power to your main drilling equipment and the anchor winches. The cubicle you saw before controls ventilation and various accessory functions. Okay, from here we'll go down below, we'll walk through the compressor room and then into the boiler room. Got to go this way. All the heating on this rig is done with waste heat from the engines, and we back that up with boilers. Watch your step.
Okay, go on top.
Okay, down here we have the air compressor room. High pressure air compressors for your motion compensator equipment, and 3 main rig compressors with air drying equipment. This is where we provide all the heat since we're working in the Arctic most of the year. Our domestic hot water services are in this room, our heating circulation pumps, and our steam generator.
Okay, what can you tell us about the control room here? It looks impressive.
Okay, basically up here we keep the rig stable. These are all the ballast tanks, and we get a readout of how much water, how much oil, how much fuel we have in each tank. So the whole rig is kept stable. This is a graphic depiction of it. The rig is 300 feet across. So it's fairly large. It's fairly critical to keep it flat. Over here we have a readout for the 12 anchors that we have to hold the rig in position. These LED readouts show how many meters of anchor cable we have out, rather, and this shows how much tension we have on each one. So this panel is basically concerned with that. Up here we have a service panel, which is a warning light when anybody anywhere on the rig switches on or off a pump or a centrifuge or whatever, so we know what's going on all the time.
Well, I certainly want to thank you both, Al and Bill, for giving us a wonderful and unforgettable tour, and want to tell you to please feel free to stop by any time in our waters.
Well, thank you,
And good luck to you. I hope you're successful up north.
thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, we're back in the studio now, and we're with my favorite Lucian Softball Association Commissioner, Terry Hurst. And Terry has an update, or he's got some scores from last week's beginning of the season.
First of all, last week we had a very good turnout for the first of the season, and the city defeated ITC 15-8. The Ranchers pitifully defeated Carl's Comics 33-13. IBU defeated the Church 12-9, which was a very good game, and the Mucklucks defeated the Aleutian Cosmos 11-6.
The Aleutian Cosmos, that's the corporation team.
Corporation team, yes.
Okay, let's take a look at these things. These don't tell you exactly how those games went out. For you who weren't at the games, there's some pretty fair softball players out here. And last year, they held me down. The Aleutian Eagle held me down and said, "You picked the winning team of the season." I just couldn't do it. It's impossible. But this year, it's even that much harder. It's going to be between the Union. They're looking sharp. Who's the captain of that?
The Union, I believe, is Mark Wells, but I might be wrong.
It's a dynamite team. The Union, the Christian Fellowship, as good as they were last year. The City Slickers with fearless Frank Kelty on first base. And the Reindeer Ranchers are looking good, too. Kind of shaky start at the beginning of the season. And then back in fifth place, probably ITC will be starting to look a little bit better. Which team do you play for, Terry?
ITC.
Oh, excuse me. They're looking okay.
Oh, they're looking real good.
So who are you playing this week?
This week we play the Ranchers.
Yeah, what's the outlook there?
I don't know. It's pretty shaky.
Yeah.
Last week I believe that Carl's Comics could have beat them, but the first two innings they were laughing so hard because when they seen you guys wheel up in them wheelchairs, and then especially Howard Davis at third base with that burnt-out bearing in his wheelchair, that just slowed everything down.
We were in a lot of trouble. We had to close left field.
Yeah.
So before we cut off here, quickly tell us about, we're going to have a tournament the 4th of July.
Yeah, we're going to have a tournament the 4th of July. Hopefully it'd be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so we don't have to play on the 4th of July. And we're going to be giving trophies for first, second, and third place.
Double elimination?
Double elimination.
Should be dynamite. I hope we have some nice weather like we're having today.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Terry, and we're all gonna go out there at softball field Sunday. The game started at 11 o'clock with the Ranchers against ITC, and they'll go till about 5:30 or so.
About 5:30, yeah.
Okay, now it's off to the dump for the rat hunt.
Yeah.
Hi, we're really fortunate to be able to be with Phil Tutiakoff today, just on the verge of a very important mission to recover Aleut artifacts. Phil, where are you going and what will you be getting for us?
I'll be going to Anchorage, Alaska, where I will represent the Unalaska Corporation and act as a kind of a receiver of the bank's collection. That's only one stop on its way to Fairbanks, where the collection will be held for storage.
And so it will be placed in a museum in Fairbanks?
Only for storage, Marianne, until such time as Unalaska has a proper facility.
That's wonderful. Who's funding this expedition for you?
Well, there's all kinds of resources being used. My travel is being paid by the nonprofit regional corporation. The Unalaska Corporation is paying me some per diem. The large amount of money needed for transport has been contributed by the Exxon Corporation, and they've contributed $10,000 to this effort.
Oh, that's impressive. Can you tell us what is in this group of artifacts that will be coming from the Ted Banks collection?
Well, only part of what's in there, Marianne. I don't have an inventory list, but I do know that one of the most significant items is this death mask. It's in Dr. Lydia Black's book, Aleut Artifacts. There's a mummy. There's a large number of archaeological artifacts. That means they're small.
How old is that death mask? You mentioned something.
It's been carbon dated about 6 or 7, maybe 8 years ago to be 1,890 years old.
That makes this a very old culture, doesn't it? How old would you say is the oldest artifact in the Aleutian, found in the Aleutian chain?
I believe that an artifact found in Kulluk on an island near the village of Nikolsky was carbonated as 10,000 years. So we've been around here for quite a while.
You sure have. Can you tell us, is this the beginning of a possible effort to put more attention into the recovery of Aleut artifacts? I know there is a lot to be uncovered still in this area, and do you know if anyone is showing an interest in further excavation of, for example, this, which is the richest of the Aleutian chain?
Oh, certainly. There is an archaeologist in Anchorage, Doug Beltry. He is familiar with the region. There's a geoecologist who spent a year in Anderson Bay and McCushion Bay, who lives in Falls Pass. Most of the people in the area of these kinds of things are interested. What is happening, along with what caused this book to be made, and the retrieval of this collection is significant because it tells the rest of the world what we are doing in order to retrieve those parts of our heritage that today are kind of like gaps. There are a lot of unknown things, but by learning more about the artifacts from this book and from the Banks collection, everybody, but especially the Aleuts, will be able to know more about their heritage.
Phil, do you know when we'll be able to see the Ted Banks collection here in Unalaska? Are we waiting for the completion of the Bishop's House Museum for that, or?
The completion of the Bishop's House would help, but Marianne, the Bishop's House is going to prove to be too small for the artifacts that are already in Unalaska, waiting to be placed there when it's completed.
Well, we have a lot to look forward to in the future as far as a display of what this culture was all about to the public here and to the world at large.
Yes.
I appreciate your coming down here and talking to us about that, Phil, and we wish you a pleasant trip.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's always nice talking to you, Marianne.
Thank you, Phil.
Hi, I'm Joe Fagan, and this is Bob York and Denny Brown. And Bob is our representative to the Special Olympics, which is why he has 4 medals hanging around his neck. And he's going to tell you about his trip. They just got back today. Bob, you want to tell everybody about what you just did?
Yeah. Anybody
Did you just get back from the Special Olympics?
Yeah.
What did you win over there? Where'd you get your medals?
In Fairbanks.
In Fairbanks. Did you throw the softball? Is that one of the things you did?
Yeah.
What else did you do?
Frisbee throw. Frisbee, no. Softball,
Yeah.
race, a high jump,
Yeah.
a broad jump.
And a broad jump. So you won 4 medals, right?
Yeah.
Who went with you when you went to Fairbanks?
Just Danny and my dad.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah.
Did you ever go to the Special Olympics before?
Yes.
When was that? A couple years ago?
I think so.
Okay, you think so? Let's talk to Denny for a minute and find out how you got there, okay?
Yeah.
The way we got there this year was Airpack sponsored Bobby and I and his dad, John, with free tickets to Anchorage. And Burdick Travel sponsored us with 1 ticket. Panama Marine gave us a ticket, or 2 tickets, excuse me. And Alaska Commercial Store gave Bobby his running shoes for the games. They just went and got them. And Nike sponsors the games for kids throughout the United States. It's just a real nice experience.
You have something else to say, Bob?
Yeah. I saw a clown, and yeah, got his the smoking bear.
Smokey the Bear?
Yeah,
Ah.
50 bear. And I saw hockey, ski.
Hockey?
Yeah. And I forgot. A bowling. And I played Atari. And I played Miss Fatman. And the in-story. And the ping pong.
What was that one?
A ping pong.
Ping pong.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I forgot.
Well, okay, here, Danny wants to say something.
I just really want to thank everybody that helped us get up there, because you don't really realize what it means to these kids, or what it meant to me to be able to go with him. It was probably one of the best things I've ever done in my life. I just want to thank the community and the people involved.
And I think everybody wants to give Bob a big congratulations for doing really well.
That's really impressive. Now, could you repeat again what the medals are around Bobby's neck?
The medals Bobby got were 2 gold and 2 silver, and they were for the 50-yard dash, the standing broad jump. The silvers were for the baseball throw and the frisbee throw, and the ribbon he had was for his running broad jump.
Wonderful. Can you tell us what's in store for Bobby in the future as far as Special Olympics go?
Well, in the future we've got the state bowling tournament coming up, and we have the Winter Olympic Games where the fellows and girls and all the gang go skiing and different things.
And how can we as a community help to support Bobby in the future?
Well, it's pretty easy to come down to Panama Marine and get a hold of myself or Pat O'Mahony, who's the general manager and Bobby's area coordinator here, and they can drop their donations in the mail to P.O. Box 598, Dutch Harbor, 99692, and all donations would really be gladly accepted.
Wonderful. And that's for the next time, which will be when?
This next one will be in December.
December.
Right.
Okay. We really appreciate your coming down here, Denny, and especially what you've done for Bobby and for the community and sharing this. Thank you for coming.
I thank you, and I really want to thank all the people involved, which are AirPac, Unalaska, Alaska Commercial Store, Panama Marine, and the community when they come in.
The Unalaska Dutch Harbor Preschool is still looking for an instructor. The preschool is looking for someone who's willing to work with the mothers as a group, as well as being cognizant of the physical and emotional needs of the kids. They prefer someone who has a background in education, but it's not necessarily an established prerequisite. The position pays $12.50 an hour, and they're also looking for an aide for the instructor. The aide position pays $5 an hour.
The University of Alaska is offering a class in child development for parents with infants this coming semester. This is a 1-credit course taught by Strauss Parson that will take place 2 hours per week for a 7-week period. The class is highly recommended for women contemplating having a child, women who are pregnant, or who have just given birth. It deals with the developmental stages through the first year, playing with a baby, learning songs and games, baby proofing, nutrition, discipline, first aid and CPR for infants, support group for mothers, the role of daddy, and conflicting advice. If you have any questions and for registration, call the University of Alaska at 581-1666.
That sounds kind of interesting. Baby proofing and conflicting advice. That's something that might be well worth going. Well, we're missing right this very minute, Marianne, the mini health fair at the clinic. It's going on right now, but it's going to keep on going on until 9 o'clock tonight. So after the show, head on over there for your free blood pressure check and red blood cell count. You going to go over there and have your red blood cells counted?
You bet.
You have to draw a little blood there. This is your chance to see their new water testing facilities and meet the new medical student, Harry McGinney. And they're also serving refreshments, so head on over. I know Phil Tutiakoff will be there.
And this Saturday and Sunday night, the Community Center is proud to present the film Diner, starring Steve Gittenberg and Daniel Stern. It's a film about Barry Livingston's difficult times between high school graduation and adult life in Baltimore, 1959. The film is R-rated, it's a comedy drama, and there haven't been any bad reviews, only good ones. It's Saturday 7:30, Sunday at 8.
Well, we had an interesting show this evening, I guess. Once again, we've made it through another half hour of local news. Phil Tutiakoff, softball, rat hunts, and the whole thing. So right after the news now, get over to the clinic and get some refreshments and check it out. Open house time. So good night from me.
And good night from me.